order by beginning with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I'm out of school.
Good evening. Welcome to our June 3rd meeting. I will begin the meeting by allowing for public comments with regards to items that are on the agenda. These items are up first. Oh, and I'm going to also ask that if you have a comment to make, that you state your name out loud so that our borough manager can hear it and put it in our minutes or recognize your comment. Yes, sir.
Max Guerrero, Open Record. Has Mr. Ike given a reason for his resignation from the Borough Council?
Mr. Ike has moved and taken a job out of state, or is moving and taking a job out of state.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other comments of items on the agenda? Yes, sir.
Hi there, Terry Fagan. Questioning about the driveway. I know there was a deadline of the 20th for a response from the owner of the buildings at the base of the driveway, and I just wanted to know if there's any updates on that.
The update would be that his attorney had asked for the lease, which I know you had provided to me, and I forgot that you had provided to me, so I have gotten it to him, and he will get an answer to me next week.
On the lease?
He wanted a copy of their attorney asked for a copy of the lease in relation to filing an answer to the complaint. So that has been given to him, and he will have a response to me by the end, before next week.
Okay, well, I did see his response was apparently seal coating his driveway that day, but, I did have a question. It had come to my attention that, you had filed a complaint last September, and he had 20 days to respond, and I don't know how much detail.
There was
you gave on that.
negotiation going on regarding possible resolution, and then we had filed, they had made an offer, we made an offer back, and then it did sit to see if it could be resolved, so.
Okay, it seems like stalling on his part, but, yeah, because our season has started, so we appreciate some movement.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, for items on the agenda. Yes.
Is there any reason why we're not moving forward with a prescriptive easement?
That's what the lawsuit is.
I'm
So,
sorry?
We are, that's what the
Oh.
lawsuit is, and it stalled for a little bit, and it's moving back again.
All right, thank you.
So what's our next,
Once they get a response, if there's no other discovery that's necessary, then it's asking for a hearing for rejection.
and so you gave that to them when?
They
So
are gonna get us
I
an answer,
did.
so once they get us back, we can, if there's anything we need from them, which I don't think there's anything we need from them, and I don't think there's anything we need from us other than a lease. So then at that point in time, we would be asking the judge for.
I'm sorry, one more thing. In the past several weeks, cars are being parked across the top, like where it's been, not blacktop, but,
Seal
coated.
Code seal.
They were, my concern is what happens if they start parking cars across there and they don't allow us access to the museum.
Blocking the access of it?
My understanding from his attorney is that there was agreement that we were gonna keep the status quo until it was resolved, and so if there is a blockage that prevents access, then I will address that with him.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask, there was a deed, you were talking about a deed, was that ever given to us, or have we given it to someone? What
Not
happened
a
to-
deed, there was a lease, request for a
Okay.
copy of the lease between the borough and the Duto.
And did someone get that copy?
Yes,
That-
Terry had given it to me, and I forgot that it had been forwarded to me. So, I asked Lisa for it, Lisa talked to Terry said he gave it to you. I did go back on my email, saw that he had, and I forwarded that to Attorney Brown.
I'm sorry, one final question. It's clear that we only want access across the property and not parking on his property. Is that clear?
that's what we've asked for, is access, yes.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Cause I keep hearing where the museum is trying to take his parking, and that's just not the
no,
case.
that
Okay.
has never, ever been the case.
All right, thank you.
We have been trying to maintain access that we've had for the great number of years that building has been there, and that's all we've ever asked for. Yes, sir.
Carrie, so like the agreement was to keep status quo, how do we move forward from him doing this like seal coding deal? That if maybe if it's not his, like if this, so status quo has obviously been broken, and it might lead to future issues here.
It's just a matter of right now, as the litigation is going on, that he's not gonna make it such that you can't use it to get to the Duto. Not that he can't do improvements to like seal coating to his property, there's nothing, even if we win litigation, there's nothing that would prevent him from doing that.
But he definitely seal coded his property,
Yeah, there's nothing that,
but that's definitely all his, is that what?
Well, no, it's not definitely.
So that's what I mean, so it's like, so now we're in a situation where he's put money into something that the borough or taxpayers are saying that it's ours, and then he's gonna be asking for what, a refund? And it's just like, it gets really messy.
he put that in without any sort of,
Yeah, so how do we move forward with that? Because like, it's gotta be part of something, it has to be part of a conversation, because he's asking for like, it's trouble. It's a situation.
if he has extended the seal coating onto borough property, that was his error. And for him to then come back and ask for reimbursement, that's not gonna go anywhere. It's not like he didn't have the ability to figure out where his property line is. If you paved your driveway and went onto your neighbor's driveway and they benefited from it, you then after the fact going, oh, I want you to come pay me for it, that would be difficult. But if we are accessing his property via an easement across it, and you take benefit from the fact that he's seal coating, there may be some sort of reimbursement or cost to the borough for having access across his property for maintenance. That's how
Sorry.
it is with any easement.
Can I ask you just one question? There's a lot of people frustrated up here, up there, about our progress, lack of progress, losing things, not losing things, having to pay people back, all that. Can you tell us what you see in the near term that we can do to have some assurance that this
I'm
might
gonna
be
be honest.
going our way?
I think what happened was last year, the litigation was filed when the Duto was open. And there were conversation about possible settlements, and then we moved into a season where the Duto wasn't open, and I didn't push it, but no one from council or the public pushed it at that point either. And so I will,
No, we've been pushing it.
Really?
We've been pushing this.
I will,
That's unfair to say that we didn't push it, because we've been pushing it. I mean, this has been going on for over a year.
I understand that, but through the winter, there was no, it resurfaced again as the Duto season was starting back up. And it became a priority for everyone again. And I'm not saying that it wasn't brought up, but it hasn't, and I'll take responsibility for the fact that it hasn't moved forward. So there is an answer that will be filed, and then the next step is to ask the court for a hearing to try and bring it to a resolution.
But are we doing every one of those things as fast and as thoroughly as we can? And is there something we might wanna get another attorney who is in?
There's nothing else to do this time besides getting the answer filed, and once the answer is filed, asking the court to hold a hearing. And the issues regarding the litigation, we can talk more about in executive session, but there are the positives and negatives that we've discussed previously.
Just.
Strength and weaknesses in the case.
I think we need, we and you and others have got to put everything they have into getting a favorable answer from this. We need a favorable answer, and we need it right away, and the fact that we haven't got it is reflecting on the population here who's saying, what do we have you guys up there for if you can't get the thing done? And so, we really have to do that. If there's anything that holds that up, let us know in between meetings. But wait for the next meeting.
And for the record, we have talked about this pretty much every meeting we've asked about.
Okay, I'm not gonna get in.
No, but I don't want
minutes
I don't want
through the winter,
our
but
public to think that we just sat and just said, okay, we'll forget about it because.
I don't think
that's
anyone
not been the
forgot
case.
about it, but I do not think it was the priority that it's been expressed over the past two meetings as it was, that there was a period of time where it was not as strong a priority from everybody, not just me and council, the public as well. So it is moving along and moving forward at this point in time.
But this, I think, I would think this is something that we need to be very clear on. We need all the resources we can muster to get a favorable result for that museum property.
I
There are
think-
people in this audience that got it, from the county. They managed to wrestle this to, here, they're out there, everybody knows where they are. But everything we can do, just highest possible
If you,
priority.
I will say that there has been a complaint filed which was reviewed by council, stating our legal position, and that was reviewed with council prior to the filing. And the strengths and weaknesses of the case was also reviewed by council, with council. So it will move forward. I cannot guarantee a result. I will not guarantee a result. Of course, I will put my best effort into it. I'm not gonna go in and not do that. But I can't tell you that if we did X, Y, and Z, we will definitely get a favorable result. I cannot guarantee that, and I won't guarantee that.
And no one's asking you to. What we're saying is that should be our objective. That should be our objective.
Of course it's our objective. I would have not filed something without an objective to get.
Well, the season has begun again, and shrubs have been cut down. Many of it we think belong to the borough's property, and things are continuing on, and it is a hindrance to the activity of the detail. So we need to get this resolved as soon as possible. It is our cultural center, it's our museum, it's our gallery, it is the center of this community, and we have got to get a result about this as soon as possible. So if there's any other comments on anything on the agenda, if not, I will go on with motion to approve the treasurer's report, if everyone's had an opportunity to review it, and pay the bills.
I'll make the
Unpaid bills.
motion. I'll make the motion to approve the treasurer's report and pay bills.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Okay, we need a motion to approve the regular minute meetings from May 6, 2024.
I'll make the motion. I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. We don't have a superintendent's report tonight. The mayor was not able to come tonight, but he did give us a mayor's report. I would like to just highlight, he is also attending a 611 meeting, regularly. He met with the Shawnee Fire Chief, and they voted and agreed for 6 months coverage, and they will revisit it after 6 months. They are requesting that Delaware Water Gap Fire Department provide a roster and certification so that they know who they are working with. We should have a copy of that roster also. They are also suggesting mutual training if possible, and saying that the borough should have that information, all that information on file to update every year for our workman's compensation insurance, which I've said in the past, we should have a roster. Also, I reminded the mayor that according to the state rules, fire company members are supposed to have background checks, so that should be part of our filing too when we get this information. So the mayor is working on that. The mayor is also working on getting the meeting together for the fire department renovation committee, which I will be a part on. He will be chairing it, along with 2 members from the fire company. And that point, we can work on what these phases will look like and work on getting the engineering bidding done.
Open to the public. Meetings open to the
Whenever we
public.
figure out what the meetings will be, yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure you're all enjoying those digital speed signs. It was great to have them up, and thanks to all the mayor and the police chief and also the people that helped him get those installed. Thank you very much.
And you were the first speaker.
not unduly. So that's the mayor's report. Police chief is not here tonight. Fire company, we don't have a report from them tonight. Neither the emergency management coordinator. The engineer is on Zoom. Missy, you're on.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you hear me?
Yes, your mic is on.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. So there's just two items I want to report. The, borough received the, pool grant request for the emergency generator. That's in the amount of $45,132. So that's good news. And then just a reminder that the DCED multimodal transportation grant is due July 31st.
Okay. Thank you very much. And the RAISE grant is coming up at the end of this month for a decision.
Yes, project selection should be made by June 27th.
And for those who don't know or don't remember, we submitted a grant for the RAISE grant. We have the project, the Broad Street project. So the idea is to try and get a grant just for the planning, which will pay for the engineering, and then maybe get that done, and maybe we can have another chance of getting the grant with another phase of it. Is that it, Missy? That's it?
That's it.
I have a question, please, can I ask for a
Yeah,
question?
sure, go ahead.
Hey, Missy, it's Derek. A while ago, you mentioned to me that there were 2 LSA grants, gonna be, active for this summer. One is, I think one was for July, and then the other one was for September. And we were talking about reapplying for the coating project for the water tank. And
Yeah, there's,
should I call you
Yeah.
on that, or?
yeah, you can. There are two. The county LSA opens on, hold on. The county LSA grant opens in July and is due by September 30th. And then the statewide grant opens in September and will be due in November.
Okay, so I'll give you a call, and at some point so I'll give you a call.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
All right, zoning officer, we got nothing. I'm sorry.
I have a question about the mayor's report. He was mentioning, he was recommending the mayor.
We're gonna talk about that in executive session. Okay, that's the first one we need to deal with. Zoning officer, there's nothing from our zoning officer today. Solicitors report, is there a report for that?
Nothing that's specific outside of what we discussed.
Okay, so now we'll go to new business. And first on new business, we need a motion to accept Howard Ike's resignation from council. He provided us a letter, and that resignation would be as of. what
It was
date?
May 6th.
May 6th,
But the acceptance is today, so.
today, so the acceptance is today.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll make the motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Now we would need a motion to accept Howard Ike's resignation as emergency management coordinator.
I'll make that motion. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, now we want to discuss or make a motion to sell the old water tower through possibly Craigslist, and I think that's yours, Lane.
Yeah, this is kind of a,
Yeah.
I'd like to advertise it on Craigslist.
Okay.
Preferably done around Lancaster County. That's a good fun. Accept any bids, $1 and up. And the recipient would have to remove.
Now, do we need anything when they're removing that, like insurance or anything like that?
Yes.
So we just, are we covered, or we have to check if we're covered?
So we'll have to,
Cover ourselves for that.
yeah, we don't have to accept any bids.
And you were kind enough to provide us with a estimate if we were to pay for the removal, and it's
Yeah.
almost $15,000.
It's a local company.
Yeah, and that was a good thing, to give us an estimate, an idea of what it would cost for us to pay for it to be removed.
Now, they're
So,
not gonna reuse it or anything, that's just take.
just destroy it, tear it down. So Councilman McWilliams is giving us another option to address
Scrap
this.
metal value on that, in the past, I had assumed that it was quite a bit, it actually is almost nothing, it's $2,000.
Really?
That's, if you tore it down, it's living.
It's a lot of work, $2,000. So do we need a motion for Councilmember McWilliams to advertise this?
Yes, because it does have
Monetary value?
value, which means it needs to be kind of bid for sale.
Like municipal bid or something?
I'm just trying to figure out if the advertising for Craigslist would meet the requirements of the ordinance regarding the sale of personal property.
I don't know,
I would-
because I have no idea
What
whether it has any.
wasn't there a threshold of the amount of the property?
I think there is. I can look it up as we continue to talk.
Okay, well, we will come back to that one for the motion. And we want to discuss and make a motion for the solicitor to advertise our fireworks ordinance. As you all know, we have a draft fireworks ordinance. This ordinance would ban consumer fireworks. After much research and consulting with our zoning officer, finding an open, safe space that would not cause damage to property or others, we are allowed to alter our ordinances in accordance with the state rules. But we are also allowing for display fireworks, because we have maybe one property in this whole borough that would be suitable for that. But there are a number of insurance requirements, permits, inspections that go along with that. So, do I have a motion for the solicitor to advertise the new fireworks ordinance?
I'll make the motion. I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
And just for clarification, that's for adoption at the July meeting?
Yes, please. Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, next we have on the agenda, appointing our shade tree committee. At our work session, our last work session, we had a lengthy discussion as to what we wanted in regards to shade tree maintenance, education, and all those things with, Councilmember Ian Foster. And I think we came to a consensus that we want a shade tree committee as opposed to a shade tree commission. And we have, believe it or not, an old ordinance for a shade tree commission. So what we are proposing is that, tonight I will appoint the committee members for this committee. And that committee, one of the first things on the items on their agenda would be to work on a new ordinance to replace the one that is existing. So, I have the list of committee members as Ian Foster, Sally Foster, Edie Bushner, and did I miss anyone?
Charles
Benny.
And Tim Snow.
Well,
Charlie Bicker, and
Tim Snow.
Mr. Snow, Tim Snow,
See.
Mr. Snow.
See.
Correct, okay.
Lisa, do we have to revoke the old ordinance before?
Not, we'll do that when we get the new ordinance, and it will say this is to replace the old ordinance. I asked that
Okay.
question too.
Okay.
So we'll give them time to work on that, get their committee together. So, I hereby appoint, the four listed individuals as members of the Shade Tree Committee.
There's 5 members.
5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Does not require a vote, it's an appointment. Any questions or discussion about the committee? Okay. Thank you so much. Discuss motion to apply for the multimodal grant for the Mountain Road project. So the DCED multimodal grant is coming open Missy, that's, I think the deadline is at the end of July. And we've applied for a grant for this Mountain Road project in the past. We have been denied in the past a number of times, but I am not quitting. I feel injured, but I will not quit. So this is, again, to remind the audience, this is a project to repair the whole intersection at Mountain Road and Main Street. And it would actually, the way it's written, would go over to Waring Drive, fixing and establishing correct sidewalks, ADA access, extending out into the road on 611 and putting sidewalk that goes around the deer head, which would bump out the road where it would be safe for pedestrians and motorists. So, we've reviewed this grant proposal before. Do I have a motion to resubmit this or submit it to the DCED multimodal grant? Deadline of July.
Make that motion.
And, and I also want to remind you that we did not have a match. We're doing it without a match because we are rural, so we can do that. You made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second. Okay, Travis second.
Charlie second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving right along. Okay, we have a discussion or a motion to authorize our engineer to apply for which LSA grant is it, Missy? For, because I didn't realize there were two LSA grants. We're talking about trying to, Councilmember Foster is trying to replace our Ford 550 truck. And he's gonna see if we can, apply for the LSA grant. I didn't realize there were two. Missy, is this the state or which one are we applying for?
I guess that would be up to you. Are there limits? Let's see.
Well, there's two coming up, July and September. We can
Right.
make the motion to apply, and then tomorrow we can, look at the limits on the amounts for it to see
Yeah.
which one is better suited.
I mean, there are no limits. The county has no limits, and the statewide grant limit is $1 million, so you'll be well under that.
Okay, so the first one is in July.
Correct.
So would you like to work on this one that's coming up?
Should we apply for both? Does that make sense?
Well, I just heard, Jared mention that he was pursuing the relining of the water tank with one of those. So, I mean, we don't wanna compete against ourselves all across the board.
Are they mutually exclusive, Missy?
Hold on.
I don't think there's a limit on the number that you can apply for, my understanding.
It isn't, but we applied for LSA grants when the fire company was applying for LSA grants, and we were knocking ourselves out, and,
Right. Yeah, they say that you can apply they say that the borough can apply for more than one project, but I do think that if the borough gets one, then the other one may not be awarded. So, meaning that, if you apply for the county LSA grant for the truck and the water tank, you can do that, but I think the likelihood of them only selecting one is high.
Should we do one to the county and one to the state then?
well, that's what
I think that would be a better approach.
Okay.
So for now, for the motion, we're talking about the Ford F-550. Do I hear a motion to apply for the LSA grant from the state that runs from July to September?
I'll make that motion.
And and I also wanna make, a comment, we are applying for this with no, match.
Right.
Okay. Second?
So can I make a comment? So that'll be, if that's the state one, that'll be in September, right?
The county LSA grant opens in September and closes in November.
Right, but so you're
Yeah.
gonna apply for the truck LSA grant.
that opens in July.
No, you said the state. That's the one
The
that
state.
opens in- That's the one in September,
Yes.
right?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
correct.
So
The
then,
county is in July and the state is in September.
I
so,
had it
so if
reversed.
they're applying for the state one in September, then we could, the water committee could apply for the tank coating for the county LSA, which would be July, right?
Yes,
And would,
if that's how the borough wants to do it.
and is that appropriate, Missy, so we're not competing against each other, like for the same, we're not,
I think so.
okay, alright. Make sense, Lisa?
Okay,
Can I ask
so,
a question?
yeah,
Does it matter which, the county or the state, does one provide more money than the other? Or-
No,
or it's
I
whatever you
don't,
ask
I don't
for?
think,
What
I
was the,
think-
Derek, what was the grant that you were trying to get? How much
The
money?
that's about 200 grand. I might be a little lower.
Cause maybe that might be the deciding factor there. If the state gives more money for LSA than the truck,
which
But-
one had the limitation of $1 million?
yeah. So I can look and see how much each grant, program has for this round. I also wanna point out that the state funding is probably more, competitive than the county because there's more applicants, since it's statewide.
true.
So the county is more competitive?
No,
State is
Oh,
more
the state,
competitive.
okay. Then I'll do the county.
Okay, wait a minute, we were making a motion on the truck.
I know.
You can
Sorry,
cease and
sorry.
desist. The other thing I want to mention about the water tank lining is I got a communication from, Congressman Cartwright's, executive assistant or executive asking questions about the capital improvement plan that we provided when Bill and I went to the municipal leadership conference. And she said, I think you listed some water projects, so I will get back with them because it's possible they have something that might help us with
Okay.
that also.
All right.
But right now, we're making the motion on the F-550.
Which grant are we making the motion?
That was, it was gonna be the one in July until Derek chimed in, but, that's the county one. So why don't we get a motion to apply for,
You want the state one?
Then you're not gonna know if we've won it until November when we need that truck.
Right.
okay, we want to apply for whatever grant is coming up in July for the Ford F-50. Do I get a motion for that? If someone opposes that, then,
I move that we apply for, county LSA grant for the Ford 550
in July.
in July.
It starts in July, closes in September. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, so that's for the truck.
And I make a motion to apply for the state LSA grant for the water tower coating.
That's not even on the agenda.
That's not even on, that's not an agenda.
No.
Yeah.
He's gotta go home and come back another
No, but
day.
we're on the same,
Almost.
we're on the same page.
Almost got in there, he almost took your motion.
Almost got
And
it.
it wasn't even on the agenda. Okay, all right, it's not me tonight, you guys.
The motion is to authorize Missy to apply for that, correct?
Yes,
And we'll need a resolution?
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
And that's July to September, so we can start working on that.
The resolution provides that who the signer is gonna be, right, Missy? Is that what it usually
yeah, the signer and the amount has to be in there, and whether those a match. I believe those are the three things: the signer, the amount, and the match.
And the reason being that our truck will not pass inspection come December.
Yeah.
Right, so can we go back to that motion and amend it?
Yeah, it's kind of all over the place right now, so that would be great if you could just start from scratch.
I
so
would-
I would like a motion to authorize the engineer to apply for the LSA grant, opening in July, closing in September, on behalf of the borough, for the replacement of the Ford 550 truck. Do Do I have to do the motion again?
There's that, we can do that motion, but then it would authorize the signing of there has to be a separate resolution that's done. So, vote on that, and then we'll do the second piece.
Do I hear a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. And do I have a motion for a resolution? Authorizing the signature amount and match, which will be no match, for the LSA grant to replace the Ford 550 truck.
So the resolution would provide that, who's gonna sign on behalf of the borough?
Do I hear a motion?
I wanna put a name
people
in
first.
the motion. So you're authorizing, you're passing a resolution that authorizes who? You, as president?
Yeah, Councilmember Ian Foster and, Council President Lisa Paulette.
Right, to sign any necessary documents
Documents.
in relation to the
LSA grant for the
application, that there be no matching funds provided by the borough, and that in an amount determined, we don't have an amount, do we?
100,000.
Well, we don't have a match.
We don't have a matching amount, but we have an estimate?
I don't have an exact amount in front of me, but
But we will need to get
$100,000
something for
is
we'll need to get something
very
for
close.
the application for the grant.
Okay.
Specifics as to what we're trying to purchase.
Should I put in the amount of?
Not to
And in
exceed,
the amount of, the estimate obtained for purposes of the grant.
I'm gonna put not to exceed 100,000.
see attached.
do I hear anyone making that motion?
Allison, I can work on it.
Who makes the motion
Which motion is this?
for the
This is
truck?
for the resolution.
For the resolution.
I can't because I see it unfavorable to go for a truck when I'm not sure we need.
Okay, so you're gonna vote nay when somebody makes.
Yeah, but.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, who's seconding the motion?
I'll second.
Ian did?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Derek seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Here.
Motion passes, but thank you, sir, for your input. Discuss motion to ask, okay. So Councilmember Foster wants to work with the Monroe County Conservation Manager, Christina Henney, to apply for grants for the acquisition of street trees as well as monies to help pay for the removal of some of the trees. We don't have to vote for you to coordinate and work with unless there's a charge for it.
There'd be no charge. I
There'd be
just
no
wanted
charge.
permission from the council to.
We'd
Move forward on
be
that.
glad if you would work with her on that. Any grants that you identify would then have to be brought to council as to whether or not we want to pursue them. But your coordination with them is absolutely part of your committee work. Thank you so much.
She's talking about some DCNR grants that she goes over.
But do keep in mind, the matching issue. A lot of the grants are 50-50, we don't have the 50. But also, I've learned recently that we can apply for grants because we are considered rural because of the size and the number of residents that we don't have. So that helps us out, where some will ask for a match, check the rules for the rural, sometimes we can get through with that. So thank you so much for coordinating that, sir.
Before we go to old business, can we move back to the?
Back to the tank,
Priceless
the
tank.
water tank.
Okay, so under the Borough Code, it provides that, no borough personal property may be disposed of by sale or otherwise, except upon approval of council by resolution. In cases where council approves the sale of property, council shall estimate the fair market value of the entire lot to be disposed of. If council estimates that fair market value to be $2,000 or more, the entire lot shall be advertised for sale once in at least, one newspaper of general circulation, not more than 10 days before bids. So, if you say it's more than $2,000, worth more than $2,000, then you have to advertise it for bids at least once in the paper. If it's less.
I don't see that it is worth anything.
Okay, so what the other problem is though, is then
scrap value may be 2,000, that's commensurate
With
with
the
somebody
disposal
moving it.
costs, right. So then you have exception for small value sales, which this would be, council shall by resolution adopt a procedure for the sale of surplus property, either individual items or lots of items of estimated fair market value less than 2,000.
So I have to make a resolution.
So you have, so there has to be a the council, we should have a resolution in place saying how you're gonna get rid of things that are worth less than $2,000. And then you would follow that resolution for the trying to sell this thing on Craigslist or wherever. You can also list it on municipality, without either of those things happening. So my suggestion would be to maybe list it on municipality between now and July, and then we can put together a procedure for the sale of surplus things less than $2,000 for the July meeting to pass, and then you can follow that if it hasn't, nothing's happened to it on municipality.
So I have to put the resolution on the July agenda?
Yes.
And if we do municipal, I just wanna bring it to your attention that we usually do 2 weeks, right, Zach? Wasn't that what they suggested, was 2 weeks municipal?
I think we did 2 weeks with the.
Yeah, I won't be available to monitor that this month, cause I will be away for a week.
Unless they started to, what are the dates you're away? Like, could they have it ending after?
I'm away the 15th through the 22nd. So it's kind of in the middle of the month.
So we'll
So
work.
if somebody else wanted to monitor it, that's
No,
fine.
we'll work on posting that after Allison gets back, is that okay with you?
Yes.
Okay, and then we can put the resolution for small
Value
value items
sales.
on the July
Okay, for
agenda.
next-
And then we have it generally, if there's anything else you wanna
That
sell.
would be good to have, actually.
Thank you.
I have lots of stuff on this.
That'd be useful. He's gonna sell everything in here. Now we're on to old business. We talked about the Duto access update. I would just like to do a refresh of what our status is now. You're gonna give them the lease.
They have the lease.
They have the lease, so they get back to you, and how much time they have to get back to you? Yeah,
He said that he would file the answer by next week.
next week, last week or next week? Next
I
week.
talked to him today and he said next week, so I would say the 10th.
By June 10th, we should hear something, the answer.
Yes.
Now, with that answer, yay or nay, does it still move on to a court date?
So in the filing of answer, when someone files an answer to complaint, they can also include something that's called a new matter, which are basically defenses. If they file a new matter, then I would have to file a response to that, which could be in short turnaround. It's not gonna be any, I wouldn't think there'd be any complicated in the new matter, and then once the response to new matter is filed, then it would be right, in my opinion, for a hearing before a judge, unless there is some sort of discovery that's being requested, but I can't think of anything that would be necessary for discovery.
And which judge does this go before?
I don't know.
Okay.
My guess would be Judge Williamson or Judge Zulik, but I don't know for certain.
Okay. All right, next on the agenda, Building Code of Appeals intermunicipal agreement.
That has been sent to a revised copy of the intermunicipal agreement that Strasburg and East Strasburg have together. I revised it to add us, and that was sent to solicitors for Strasburg and East Strasburg for their approvals. And if they're okay with it, then I would ask for it, then it has to be adopted by resolution by East Strasburg, Strasburg, and us. So
Okay.
that would be for July meeting, as long as they're okay with it.
Once we get a response from them.
Right, and they were okay with us joining, I just had to amend the intermunicipal agreement that they had, which I have done and sent to their council.
So is it safe to put that on the agenda now, or do we have to wait for something else from them?
I need an okay from them, but I would think we'd have it before the July meeting.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, Gulf Station Inlet. Oh, no, I'm sorry, I skipped one. For Shepherd Court update.
I filed for a hearing on damages for the fact that that has been going on for so long with the Court of Common Pleas, and I got a hearing date, I believe it is in August. I can send the notice to council setting a hearing.
Okay. Marcia will be glad to hear that. Gulf Station Inlet. Huh?
I'll let them know tonight.
Thanks.
The Gulf Station inlet repairs, Allison has not gotten a response back as to whether or not we can use liquid fuels for that.
I didn't hear back.
We haven't heard back yet. That is a $40,000 repair that we're trying to figure out. 45?
It's more than that.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's 45. It's more. And we're trying to figure out ways to resolve that issue that is upon us. If you notice, that cone has been there growing out of the, PennDOT said it's our responsibility, so we have to figure it out.
Can I help again?
Yes, sir.
So, I don't know, has anyone here looked at that drain box down inside?
Been a long time since I last looked at it.
Okay, if you looked at it now, I'm not sure, but I had a flashlight, pretty bad. But I look down in there and all I see is cinders and blockage, and what I see is a drain that should be cleaned.
Okay.
And so that's a part of it. I really asked, do we need a separate truck? What do we need to do here on this?
But it's not, the problem is not that the drain box is clogged or not draining, it's that the road is collapsing around it because it's collapsing.
Well, I'd be happy to go down and see whatever is collapsing around it. I didn't see that. The other thing is, when I went down, the repaving of 5-6 years ago, maybe more, went out, Broad Street, and it didn't stop until X Point. Now, X Point was 20 or 30 feet beyond that catch basin. So what it is the state or the state's contractor went in there and paved that and did, as I see it, damage to the catch basin when he did it. He certainly didn't make the catch basin any better. But
Not sure we're talking about the same basin. This basin is off the road in the Gulf Station parking lot.
Right, about halfway in the entrance and exit.
Yeah, and
We're talking about the same.
you think that the PennDOT contractor went into the Gulf Station's parking lot when they were paving?
Well, it's either Pennsylvania owns it or the Gulf Station. Either way, we don't know.
We're responsible for the stormwater management though, so the basin itself, as I understand it, we own.
I think we need to take a second look at that, where we look down in the hole and see what's in there, when we see where it is relative to where the burn starts and stops.
So was there-
I think just to go forward.
I'll look at it with you, but this is all engineer's recommendation. I'm a
Missy,
layman.
was there a descriptive of that damage or what was ailing that storm drain at the Gulf Station?
So the top of the box, so just the inlet and the frame around the inlet, that concrete piece is failing, is falling apart. So we propose just to replace that piece, not the whole box.
But you didn't, not less than 40,000 or something?
Well, see, you had, in order to get the permit to replace the top of the inlet, you had to go through PennDOT. And
Right.
PennDOT has issues with the handicap ramps in the area. So that had, it was part of the package, it was part of the deal. And we can discuss that another time if you want, but that's a whole long,
Exactly.
history.
Exactly. I think we ought to take another look at it before we commit to 40,000 or more to.
Well, we don't have a motion on the agenda tonight. It's
Okay.
continued update, trying to figure out a resolution to the issue.
Here's another thought. I just read something in the Pennsylvania Borough Council Association that they're looking at legislation that would take the stormwater management on state roads away from the local municipalities.
And put it back on the PennDOT.
Yeah, so
Let
maybe,
them ours.
yeah, there's legislation pending that may push that through, so we might wanna delay a little bit, push it off to that.
I'll also ask, I'll ask about that, that one of the, maybe with the township association, they may, because they're up on the legislation around here, maybe they can, let me know if they've heard anything about
It's
that.
in this month's.
Edition, I'll look at that.
Please go out and look in the hole.
I'm gonna look in
And
the
look
hole.
where the paving stops. And draw it.
Yes, sir. Further updates, the Cherry Valley Road water line project, are there
I
any updates?
have, requested Attorney McEwen to do, not Attorney McEwen, Mr. Tom McEwen to do the appraisals for those three properties, and I have sent a proposed resolution to, Attorney Smithfield Township, Attorney Karasak with Smithfield Township, that Smithfield Township has to pass in order for us to be able to file the declaration of taking.
Oh, so Smithfield has to approve that before.
Because we can't, because those properties are not located within the borough of Delaware Water Gap,
Right.
Smithfield Township has to give us permission to file a declaration of taking against properties in Smithfield Township. The folks who helped us with the PUC action had put together a sample resolution, so I updated that and sent that to Attorney Karasak.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
And also have asked for the appraisals to be done. I reached back out to Attorney, Wolf, who was representing Suzanne Flanagan, and he's reached back out to her and didn't get a response, so.
Okay, next on the agenda, well, old business, firehouse renovations. I mentioned to you that the mayor is getting, the meeting together to formulate the committee. Updates, any other updates will come after that, after we've gotten the people together and let you know when we're going to meet and decide on what we can do to move along with the renovations and the grant.
We did get approval to use 10% of the second
Yes.
LSA grant towards engineering costs, so that we do have more money to go towards engineering costs.
And that's helpful. New and used Ford, we discussed that. Parking ticket increase, the mayor and the police chief are not here, but Allison, is there any statement other than that they're looking to increase the parking ticket amount?
Yeah, they're discussing that.
Don't make a recommendation, they're working on it. With that said, now we're on to committee reports. Water, is there anything?
Nope.
Budget, nothing at this time. Personnel will meet later with regards to executive session. Sanitation, no one here for that. Roads and building,
Nothing from the past to report on. I'm going on vacation for the next couple of, next 2 weeks, so there won't be a roads committee meeting next week. And when I get back, I will look and call around, to see if there's anybody other than Critical Systems in the area who does generators, so that we can get an idea, some quotes from different vendors. I'm not sure who else in the area does them, but we might need to put that project out to bid.
and I think we're still seeking someone that works on rubber roofs.
Yeah, Allison could tell you that she's called 10 plus contractors, heard back from 2, and one was really expensive, the other one ghosted us.
You have
I'm
a-
just jumping back a second. The sanitation committee, I believe that was just Jamie and Howard Ike. So do we need another person on that committee?
You wanna do sanitation?
No, I'm not working with Jamie.
But thank you for reminding me of that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I
I'd
will
rather eat
make sure I
glass.
check that we're covered. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's it for roads and buildings, sir?
Sure.
Yes, but with anyone that can find someone that works on rubber roofs, we are in need of that because the roof was leaking extensively. Luckily, the wind has not blown it up again, but we do need to get that repaired.
Can I go back to sanitation for a moment? Allison, can you just make note to find out when that contract's up, if we have to rebid?
Yeah, I think we voted to set this year and maybe the following year. I'll look it up and I'll get back to you.
Okay, I just.
Yep, it is coming up. I
Parks,
think-
Parks and Rec, I have no report. Special projects, economic development,
Nothing really new to report except the kiosk, the broken lock is now the missing lock.
So I have it,
Oh, you do?
Yes, I
Okay.
have the lock, I just, you know,
Okay.
I'm gonna see if I can replace it, but somebody else is just gonna break it. I mean, if somebody wants a flyer, think somebody else is just gonna come and break the lock is what I'm thinking, but
Well,
we can try again.
I think because it's sat there through the winter and everything, and, when nobody's around for length of time, it's more busy, but hopefully, now, I mean, it's flyers, so we're not protecting anything of intrinsic value, but, just so.
Cause they damaged the actual,
Yeah, they
the
did.
kiosk by breaking the lock. So
Right, they
now you can't
damaged
really
it.
open the plexiglass as easily, so.
And are you replacing the flyers or?
I've been putting flyers in Tammy.
Oh, you have been?
I saw you did too, right? You
Right,
remember
right.
yesterday? Yeah, we both did at the same time. So if you wanna pull something out that I put in, that's fine.
Oh, no, it's fine.
If you'd rather, I can give it to you. We can talk about that off.
I just didn't know who the mystery flyer placers were.
It's me. The mystery walker.
How about Friends of Delaware Water Gap? We got a report?
Yes, I know at last month's meeting, we discussed, the porta potties. I have been in contact with Jim Delaria, who has been in contact with, I think it's Gotta Go Potties. I haven't got a price yet. We're trying to work out some kind of a deal to possibly get two, like I said, for down by the craft show. He also, and I don't know if you've all heard of this, but he's looking to put a porta potty somewhere here for like concerts, I guess, so that the people don't have to walk up to the church to go to the bathroom.
On the church property?
I don't know exactly where. I'm gonna assume here, but
Should be on church property.
I'm,
To
so,
ask if there's any zoning issues about porta potties being left, I'd have to ask the zoning officer
right,
about
I
that.
I got you with that. And then also, like I said, so he's trying to get a deal for, like I said, 3. 1 for here, if that works out, 2 for down for the craft show, and then, for the jazz festival. He knows the people that own that company, so he might be able to work out a deal. I'm having a hard time getting some crafters. If anybody knows any crafters, vendors, anything, please let me know. Also, we're having our Tricky Tray. We're still looking for donations of that, if anybody is interested in donating to that. I think other than that,
Is Kai, did you talk to Kai?
I have
As far
been
as the
in,
vendors?
yep, I'm gonna go see her, Wednesday, I believe.
And I
Wednesday,
also
Thursday.
saw someone on the East Stroudsburg Facebook, that community page.
Yep.
Asking for vendors for some other events that
Yep.
you might wanna.
I've been checking them out, I get them, and that's where I got a lot of them as well, so, yeah, but if anybody knows anybody, like I said,
I have a few, I'll
vendor,
give you tomorrow.
vendor, crafter, please reach out to me.
Thanks for all your work.
You're welcome.
Open spaces and trails, did you hear any updates on anything from?
I did.
Okay.
2 meetings coming up, one normally next week. Quarterly meeting is gonna be in July. I won't be able to make that one.
Check with
That's
Sue,
fine.
Sue Cooper on that. Okay. Planning Commission, any updates?
No.
And the COG?
No,
None. All right, wonderful. Now, this is the point where you can ask, make public comments on items that are not on the agenda. Yes?
The park, the Shoal Park by my house, it's horrible, disgusting. So I'm hoping your personnel has something to do with the new superintendent. That's my
Yes,
comment.
we do need to attend to the park.
My
and-
daughter came home, she lived here her whole life, and she was just like, Mom, what is going on? This is terrible. And I don't particularly notice it, 'cause I just drive past it. You know, it's there for me every day, but I saw a couple of people stop this weekend, our new neighbors on the block, and they're like, why does that look like that?
Okay.
I'll take care of it this weekend.
Thank you, and I thank you so much for volunteering to help with that.
Thank you.
We are
I'll get it
working
done.
to
I'll get it done
replace,
this weekend.
to, deal with the personnel issues, so thank you.
Sure.
We appreciate that, and I wanted to mention that you had volunteered to help us
Yeah,
out with the park.
It'll be done this weekend.
Thank you.
Thank
Do
you,
you
thank
think
you so
about
much.
updating that as far as, cause I know the kids next door, they're always looking to, they went over there, they said they wouldn't play on it, so.
The house seems to be ripped apart
The
by
house.
some.
It's those kids.
It's those kids
from
in Jeff
your neighbors.
Ionise's house.
My neighbors.
Yes, I've yelled at those kids several times for destroying things over there.
I told him the next time it happens, I'm calling the police.
Thank you. Thank you all for helping out with community.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure. Community comment.
Is Caleb not here anymore?
No, he took another job.
Okay,
All right.
okay, thank you.
If there's any, other public, there, yes, sir.
Oh, no.
I'm just curious if the borough is in charge of the trailheads. And I ask because like there's just cones and there's potholes and we're going to like we're just going into the trail season right now. It'd be cool like if we were in charge of it to like fill those potholes so it's a better experience for our
That's
visitors.
Park Service. That's National Park Service's land.
Okay,
And
so
they-
Park Service plows it and
It's
stuff
their,
too?
it's their parking lot.
Okay.
It's their property.
On the main lot and the second lot, that's like,
That's on Park Service property. The Park Service has never plowed that, and I don't think has any desire to plow.
yeah.
So the borough has been plowing, the road up and around, but not the parking lot.
Okay. So if we need to help that parking lot, we need to request it from the National Park Service?
Oh, absolutely, it's their property, yeah.
Okay. It's just like, it gets a little messy, which is like, if we maintain it during the winter and then not in the summer, I'm just, yeah.
You
Okay.
talking about garbage or just?
No, I'm talking about like adding stone, so
Oh, okay.
if we plow it, we plow the stone away,
Right.
and then we're asking someone else to replenish it, it just gets
We don't
messy, and then I
actually
saw
plow that,
cones,
do
and I
we?
didn't know if
The huge puddle. The big puddles.
Yeah.
puddles,
Big holes,
Yeah,
and satellite puddles.
so,
But we don't plow their parking lot.
No.
Not the parking lot.
No.
Just
we
the
don't plow
road,
it.
But we
right?
plow the road,
We plow the
kinda,
road, not
if
park.
emergency vehicles need to get to
For
the trail,
emergency
somebody's
vehicles.
hiking in the winter, we keep
Okay.
that clear for our fire department and emergency vehicles.
I'm going to look into it on my side of things, in my department, the National Park Service. If that doesn't shake out, cause it seems like there's, I don't wanna say there's a disagreement, it just seemed like, it was kinda like this conversation, it looks a little confusing. I'll follow up with you guys and I would like the borough to like formally request it, you know what I mean?
That they repair their parking lot?
Yeah, because I mean, it's kind of like, it's like the first thing that visitors see coming to our town, and it's like, and if we can facilitate, them to take care of it, that'd be like beneficial on us, it'd be a good look on us.
Understood, yeah.
Yeah, just going into the busy season.
No, I know what you mean, but the only reason we haven't done it, it's not ours to.
Sure, yeah,
Attend to.
sometimes the Park Service needs to be poked.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Like
yeah,
611,
yeah,
yeah.
just a friend.
We poke them all the time.
Yeah.
They've actually done quite a bit of work there this summer with the
Oh.
trees, taking the trees down.
Mhm. Yeah, I just wasn't sure about like the actual road service, so.
Yeah, it's all there.
Okay,
Yeah.
good to know.
Thank you. Any other public comments before we, yes, sir?
I don't remember seeing this on the budget, but do we still have access to Oak Grove recycling? Like to drop off, yard debris and?
I would have to look into that because I wondered that myself.
Okay.
I haven't heard anything about it since I've been here. I mean, I know that you have access to it, but I haven't heard anything about it.
We'd have to check into that. Mr. Resnick had a,
Thank you.
Yeah, the condition of parking and sidewalks on Waring by Castle Inn, it's getting worse and worse and worse. The sidewalk, at the end of it, it's essentially gravel and covered over with tables and chairs all summer long. When it gets wet, people slip on it and fall down. But that entire sidewalk along the Castle Inn is broken, cracked, missing, and is a major hazard. The cars that park willy-nilly along that road quite often park halfway out into the road, and with the increased traffic that goes down that road, with all of the two-platers that can't read signs, it gets quite heavy sometimes, including a number of the transport vehicles. There's a series of pickups that have a 3-car trailer behind them, hauling cars around, and for some reason, it seems like the same group again and again and again, makes that loop down Waring, down Oak. And it needs to be dealt with.
One of those trucks just got stuck here the other day.
You're talking about a tractor trailer truck?
It's,
Or pulling on a
it's
trailer?
Right, it pulls a trailer and it's got a couple, and it's, I don't know if it's the same people, cause it's like at least once, twice, 3 times a week, and it's like, you don't know that that's closed. I was actually coming down Mountain Road and he was trying to figure out what to do. He had to, he actually backed all the way down 611
I believe
to
it, yeah.
figure it out.
I've seen a tanker truck back all the way down.
I've
from here
seen them
down.
too, and I have written letters to all of our legislators regarding the trucks coming down and the road closure and such.
Couldn't you contact PennDOT to have them put up a message board entering the borough saying Route 611 is closed, do not enter?
Actually, the borough manager and I had a meeting with a state police representative and who suggested, I forget what the phrase was for the advanced signage. And the mayor had spoken with them in the past about changing signs and moving them along so that the trucks could see them before they get to a point where they can't turn around. But it's a continued back and forth trying to get that done with PennDOT. We haven't missed that.
I know, but
I've been
the easy
writing-
thing to be would put one of those electronic message boards there. And
We will continue to pursue that.
that's
And
PennDOT being PennDOT.
We'll continue to pursue that, and with regards to the sidewalks, that is actually part of the proposed grant that I spoke about earlier this evening, that we voted to reapply for, to fix the interchange, the intersection with the sidewalks and yes, Mr. Resident.
Are you saying that the grant is to cover the sidewalk all the way down in front of Castle Inn?
The
Isn't
grant
that
would
their
go
responsibility?
across Main Street, over to Waring and Delaware Avenue, and fix the sidewalks and the ADA access to be able to come across 611 and to get
But
across
that's-
those roads.
That's just the corner that you're talking about, where it's the entire sidewalk down Waring that's messed up and is hazardous.
Sidewalk doesn't go all the way down Waring. It stops
goes
at the
down
castle.
all the way to the front of the Castle Inn, down to the Castle Inn parking lot.
Right.
Yeah.
If you take a look at it.
Are we talking about Waring or Delaware?
Where it goes in front of Castle.
On the side of, the castle.
Yes, it goes
Castle
down to the side of the castle inn. That's the proposed sidewalk.
No, that's the sidewalk that has been there for decades and has never been repaired.
Okay, it's proposed to repair it. If I can get the grant, write a letter to support the grant.
It's not the responsibility of the Castle Inn?
No, we can't make anyone fix the sidewalk. We don't have ordinance to make people fix the sidewalk. We have ordinance to, what do we have? Shovel.
To clear snow.
Clear snow.
No, I think the homeowner's responsible.
We don't have an ordinance. And with that said, I'm going to, someone make a motion to go into executive session?
I just had one thing for.
Yes,
for
sir.
sure. I wonder how much money we have collected with the Airbnb and that kind of thing. That we have, I remember we passed, some ordinances and then we,
I don't know that we've collected any, have we?
We have not.
We have not,
We have
and
not.
according to the zoning officer, he surmises that people are changing their listings so that they're not seen.
well, my point was, I think we went through a lot of effort to do it, and there were fees attached to that, and it would help to know people as they come into town and so on and so forth. And I didn't believe we'd find a nickel, of enforcement there. So
I'll
can
consult.
someone just look at it and say, let's give it up and throw it in the can, or?
No, I can consult with the zoning officer and find out if there is anything that we can pursue to collect from that.
Okay, because I'm getting neighbors I never knew I had.
They might be from the wellness center.
So, Lisa, can I make a comment about that?
Yes, sir.
So that, you're talking about the short-term rental ordinance?
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was passed along with the new zoning ordinance. And it was under the recommendation of Carson Helfrich at the time passed it separately, said it's more enforceable if it's a separate ordinance. And
It's also so you don't have pre-existing non-conforming uses. So if it's through zoning and someone would had one before you passed the zoning ordinance, then it would be a non-conforming use that it was allowed prior to the zoning ordinance. So you pass as a standalone ordinance, so it's that you don't get a non-conforming use argument.
Okay. So, I mean, there was a lot of meat to that in terms of regulations, and everything was updated to address.
So you've done that part.
Yeah, that's
It's
done.
Still doesn't have a nickel flowing through it. And it's not the nickel I meant, it's some concerns of, we have people living in our customers.
I didn't know that we were not getting any fees on short-term rental.
Let's bring it up.
Well, I think I just-
I'll talk to Mike.
We'll look at it with the
Yeah.
zoning officer and talk about it. Yes, sir, there is a motion to go into executive session.
I'll second that.
Second. And when we come out, there will be a vote on personnel matter.
So there'll be a vote for us to come
Personnel
back?
matter, yeah. But that's it, that's all, yeah, the vote is on. So with that said, meeting's
Well, we're
adjourned for
outside.
executive session.